Hey all, welcome to Share Trek. This is Raj here, and friends, today I have taken CTX110 as my focus and examined it in detail to show you the potential of this therapy, and as a result, what would be the potential valuation of CRISPR. Of course, I don't give you a valuation number because that's a game which many analysts have played, and more reputed analysts have put the numbers out there. You can find it on the net. But I want to demonstrate the intrinsic potential of CRISPR therapeutics and the fact that it is very, very inexpensive at this point of time. I've discussed the advantage of CTX110 being allogenic, its mode of attack, performance in clinical trials, as well as table of approved and approved CAR-T therapies in the same area, along with revenue growth that wherever the numbers are available. This video should be of interest to every CRISPR investor because it gives you an idea of just one of the many candidates that CRISPR Therapeutics has got in advanced clinical trials that's likely to be approved very soon. I'll also be making a video on CTX130. So if you're interested in CRISPR Therapeutics and its various therapies and progress, please do not hesitate to press the subscribe and notify button so that you get to know whenever I post a video. And that will also help us grow the channel. So with that said, let's get started. Welcome back, friends. At the end of 2022, in December, at the 64th American Society of Hematology annual meeting and exposition, CRISPR Therapeutics presented data on CTX110, which is a wholly owned CAR-T therapy aimed to treat pre-treated large B-cell lymphoma patients. Part A was a single-dose trial with optional redosing, and Part B was consolidation dosing, and both were under Phase 1 carbon clinical trial. The Part A data confirmed that CTX110 can lead to a long-term durable complete remission for heavily pretreated B-cell lymphoma patients. They disclosed that 3 patients remain in complete remission beyond 2 years. Part B data available at that time indicated benefits of consolidation dosing consistent with what was shown in Part A. Based on these results and review by regulatory agencies, CRISPR initiated Phase 2 single-arm potentially registrational trial with drug product manufactured with a commercial-ready process and specifications, which means once the approval is granted, they are ready to go. In Part A of the trial, patients were infused with a single dose of CTX110 following 3 days of a standard lymphodepletion regimen. Patients received a CTX110 at doses ranging from dose level 1, which was 30 million CAR-T cells, to dose level 4, which was 600 million CAR-T cells, with an option to redose CTX110 based on clinical benefit. In Part B of the trial, patients received CTX110 at DL4 following standard lymphodepletion as well as a consolidation dose of CTX110 at the time, dose level between 4 and 8 weeks after the initial dose for patients that demonstrate clinical benefits. The primary endpoints include safety as measured by the incidence of dose-limiting toxicities, that is DLTs, and overall response rate, or ORR. Key secondary endpoints included complete response rate, duration of response, and overall survival. CTX110, a wholly owned program of CRISPR Therapeutics. That's a very key fact to remember. So, CRISPR doesn't have to share revenue with anyone. At the same time, it also means that they cannot share the expenses with anyone. But the fact is that while they were working with other partners to develop various other therapies, they have been working on the side on CTX110, and it has now reached a stage of a potentially registrational phase of the clinical trials. So this is indeed a very, very bullish sign for CRISPR. So this particular therapy is a healthy donor-derived gene-edited allogenic CAR-T investigational therapy targeting cluster of differentiation, or CD19. CTX110 is being investigated in the ongoing carbon trial, a Phase 1 single-arm multi-center open-label clinical trial, as they call it. Carbon is designed to assess the safety and efficacy of several dose levels of CTX110 for treatment of relapsed or refractory B-cell malignancies. CTX110 has been granted RMAT designation by the FDA. The mechanism at work for CTX110 as a therapy involves several steps. First, the engineered CAR T cells are infused with the patient's into the patient's bloodstream. Let me roll back one more step. This is an allogenic CAR T therapy. Therefore, healthy donors might have donated very healthy T cells, which were then engineered to develop receptors, chimeric receptors, which are tuned to latch onto CD19 protein wherever it finds it. So these engineered CAR T cells are infused into the patient's bloodstream. Once in the body, they circulate until they encounter a cancer cell expressing CD19. When this happens, the CAR on the surface of the CAR T cell recognizes and binds to the CD19 protein on the cancer cells. This binding process triggers the activation of the CAR T cell, causing it to proliferate and release cytokines and other substances that help to recruit and activate other immune cells in the body, such as natural killer cells and macrophages. This process is known as cytokine storm. The activated CAR T cells also directly kill the cancer cells by releasing toxic substances such as granzymes and perforins, which create pores in the cancer cell membrane and induce apoptosis, which is the programmed cell death, which is already part of the human body. The overall result of CD19 plus targeted CAR T therapy is the destruction of cancer cells expressing CD19, leading to a reduction in the size of the tumor and potentially for long-term remission in some patients. Remember, CTX110 is an autologous therapy and wholly owned by CRISPR Therapeutics. Here are some advantages of allogenic therapy from an investor perspective as well as from a patient perspective. Allogenic CAR T therapy uses T cells obtained from a healthy donor, which are engineered in a lab to express the CAR and are then infused into the patient's body. Allogenic CAR T therapy has several advantages over autologous CAR T therapy, including scalability. Allogenic CAR T therapies can be manufactured on a large scale, allowing for wider availability and potentially lower costs. The second thing is speed. Allogenic CAR T therapies can be manufactured and stored in advance, reducing the wait time for patients to receive treatment, so it's almost off the shelf. The third aspect is consistency. Because allogenic CAR T therapies are manufactured from a single donor and a healthy donor, the quality and consistency of the therapy can be more closely controlled than with autologous therapies. And finally, the ability to treat a wider range of patients, because allogenic CAR T therapy can potentially treat a wider range of patients, including those with compromised T cell function because they do not produce their own T cells, elderly patients or patients who have undergone prior treatments that may have affected the quality of their T cells. So those are all the benefits of allogenic therapy for CAR T. And I think that from a distribution point of view also, it will follow the traditional method, and therefore the distribution overheads are not going to increase. And it avoids the entire logistics of harvesting the patient's cells and then modifying them and transporting them to and fro from the hospital to the lab and so on. So this is going to be more cost effective as well, because manufacturing in scale will give advantage of costs. Then the global market, let us talk about the size of the market. The global CAR T therapy is expected to grow from 1.1 billion in 2020 to 5.7 billion in 2026 at a compounded annual growth rate of 32.5 all the way up to 2026. This is for all CAR T therapies. Relapsed or refractory CD19 plus B cell malignancies are a major target for CAR T therapies, as these types of cancers express the CD19 protein on their surface, making them susceptible to CAR T therapy targeting CD19. According to a report by Research and Markets, the global market for CAR T therapy for B cell malignancies was valued at $2.63 billion in 2020, and it is expected to grow at a compounded annual growth rate of 36.2% during the forecast period of 2021 to 2028. I have compiled a list of CAR T therapies in this area as shown in this table here, but would like to add that this is not an exhaustive list, but just meant to show competition as well as revenue growth where such figures are publicly available. Here, I'm showing you the table that I was talking about. And in this table, you can see that Yescarta from Gilead, Chimera from Novartis, Tectaras from Kite Pharma, and Breyanzi from Bristol Myers Squibb, as well as Abecma from Bristol Myers Squibb. These are all already in the market, and they have been generating revenues. I could not find revenue for Yescarta and Chimera, but I have found the revenue for the other three. So in 2021, Kite Pharma made $57 million from Tectaris, and that grew to $82 million in 2022, registering a 44% growth year over year. And for Bristol Myers Squibb's Breyazi was making $89 million in 2021, and then it made $182 million in 2022, and the growth was 104% year over year. And then we have Abecma from Bristol Myers Squibb, which made $150 million in 2021 and $297 million in 2022, registering a growth of 98% year over year. Apart from that, CTX110 has competition from these following 5 therapies out here, 6 therapies that I have listed out here. Of course, friends, this is not an exhaustive list because it was going to take a very long time for me to search each and every therapy that is already in place and the ones which are under clinical trials. So I've taken a representative set. There may be more, and you can always put it in the comment when you find that. But suffice to say that it's a crowded field, but the potential is huge. As I mentioned, the market sizes before. But suffice to say that this gives us a glimpse into the potential valuation of CRISPR Therapeutics if and when CTX110 gets approved and hits the market. I saw a report that says that the revenue of CTX110 is expected to reach an annual total of $377 million by 2036. That is a global revenue based off global data's expiry model. I'll put the link for this particular report in the description of this video so that you can go in and have a look at it yourself. It's a very interesting read. Of course, you have to pay to buy the report, therefore the amount of information available is not that much, but still there's sufficient amount of information for a retail investor like us. So with that said, friends, I hope you found this a substantial video. In my opinion, I think that CRISPR Therapeutics is poised for great things, because let us not forget that they are working on Exaccel, which is almost ready to be approved because the rolling BLA was already completed. And we are waiting for another 6 to 9 months to see the results. And I'm absolutely sure that it's going to be approved by FDA. And then we have CTX110, and there are 2 more CAR-T therapies targeting oncology targets in CRISPR. And I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to make similar videos for each of them next. And I'm thinking that as and when these therapies get approved, the value of CRISPR Therapeutics is just going to keep on jumping. And before long, it will be valued in 3 digits. And at that time, it will be very difficult for us to get a hand on it. So I think that at this point of time, CRISPR is priced very attractively. And what's the point of an in-depth video if we don't even have a look at the price chart? So let's go to the TradingView platform and have a quick look at the price chart, and then we will end this video. Here we are in our TradingView platform, and I'm looking at the CRISPR Therapeutics chart. Each candle is a 1-day candle. And as you can see that somewhere around 20th of July 2022, CRISPR Therapeutics was worth $87.09, and since then it has been falling steadily. And after the recent consolidation that happened between 10th of March up to 12th of April, we broke through, and then we started gliding down again. But we have found a floor, I believe, at 47.88, and there's a trend reversal out here. As you can see, you have a bullish harami. At that time, I couldn't call it a bullish harami because the wicks were extending beyond the previous day's red candle. But it seems to have started a trend reversal. The next day was a bit negative, but it was a very short candle. And then we have a bullish candle today. So I'm thinking that over a period of time, in the next 3 to 4 months, we are going to break through all these resistance, which are at 52.40, 54.48, and around 56.42. And we're going to break through all of them, and our ultimate target is to be breaking through this diagonal line of resistance, which was earlier a diagonal line of support for the bull channel. At this point of time, momentum is also above average, and MACD is just crossed over on the bearish side. But I see a lot of potential for CRISPR Therapeutics because even though I have not made the video yet, I have looked at the other CAR-T therapies that we have with CRISPR, and those therapies are looking pretty good. And as they roll closer to a BLA submission, the prices will be going high. So we are looking at waves of or spurts of increase in CRISPR therapeutic price One would be the Exacel, which is what we are waiting for. Then you'll have CTX110. And we also have VCTX210 and subsequent diabetes therapies. So we'll soon start hearing about them getting into potentially registrational phase of the clinical trials. So I think we should take advantage of the current market sentiment and make an entry into CRISPR therapeutics. There would be volatility. It's not going to be a straight line up, but in my personal opinion, the stock is worth way more than what it is trading at right now. And the potential is there, as seen in the CAR-T therapy that we just discovered, CTX110, and the therapy that we already discussed, that is the Exacel for sickle cell disease and TDT. So there's a lot in store. And also there is a lot of collaborations for CRISPR therapeutics that brings milestone-based revenues, and they have a lot of things going in their favor. So that said, I would like to caution you that these are my personal bullish views of CRISPR therapeutics. And as disclosure, I don't have any CRISPR therapeutics, but I'm definitely planning to buy some. And I might do that before the price goes up. This is not financial advice. This is just my personal opinion. Please do your own due diligence before you invest. And also, please let me know if you like this video and if I should make more videos like this. Also, please do not hesitate to like, share, and subscribe to help us grow this channel. With that, I would like to end this video here. Bye for now.